He would do a voice. So some of the people you'd hear people dance.
All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started here. If you can ensure your cell phones are off or on vibrate, and council members, ensure your microphones are turned on. Today is October 6, 2025. It's the Committee of the Whole meeting for Barberton City Council. Today, before we begin our Committee of the Whole meeting, we do have individual committee meetings, and we're going to start with Street, Sidewalk, and Lighting with Mrs. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I would like to call the Street, Sidewalk, and Lighting Committee to order. It is Monday, October 6th at 6 p.m. Everybody is present in the committee, including myself as chair, Monty Harris as co-chair, Mr. Easterling, and Justin Greer. All other members of council are present, and members noted on my sheet. This evening, we don't have any topics, no requested legislation, no pending legislation. I'm going to do some miscellaneous things now. So the 2025 fall leaf removal schedule has been released. I'm sure that is on our website as well. Ward 4, October 27th through October 31st. Ward 4, Ward 1 is November 3rd through November 7th. Ward 5, November 10th through November 14th. Ward 2, November 17th through the 21st. Ward 3, November 24th through the 28th. And Ward 6 is December 1st through the 5th. I also have a couple of street updates. First one, the 2nd Street festoon lighting downtown is almost finished. Tomorrow, the road will be, 2nd Street will be closed from Park to Page, West Park to West Page. They're going to hang some more wiring and lighting. Wednesday, the next day, they'll have one side of the parking closed off to install some more boxes on the poles. That is tentative, that may change. I do have one question for you, Mr. Shreve. These are color changing lights, right? They're not going to be just white.
I believe so, yes.
Right.
I say Stacy might know,
I think I remember that from the...
Yeah, so they're color changing and they're going to be programmable. So we don't have to get up and do anything. We can just, computer-wise, we can change everything.
So they're going to be purple on their first night?
We can put that request in, yep, they sure can.
All right, so Worcester Road West, they need to complete some utility adjustments and traffic signal work, so they're down to that. And then the resurfacing program, it looks like they just need to complete one concrete drive approach, and that will be through. Did I get that all right, Mr. Shreve?
that was the report I got today, yes.
Excellent, thank you. So, does anybody else have anything? Any more miscellaneous? I know you do. Go ahead.
Street cutouts. How are we going on those? I'm not getting an update.
Yeah, I was just looking at them before I come up here. I need to compile their list into our list and then I'll send it out.
Okay.
It looked like they were doing some repairs last week. I mean, we still have about 50 of them that need attention.
And when do we think Worcester West is going to be done?
So, the reports that we got from ODOT, end of the month.
What's
is
that?
their estimate.
Very soon, end of the month.
End of the month? Okay. Then I have another question.
Go right ahead.
Construction signs for like our street resurfacing stuff. People are saying, "Hey, the street's been done. Why is the construction sign still up?
So
Why aren't they
just
being
last
removed?"
week, it may appear done, but maybe the residents didn't realize that there's supposed to be a bead of tar where the new asphalt, the old asphalt matches. And so
Sealing it.
Yeah, they were filling that in, finishing it last week. Not sure if they've gotten all the streets, so we'll take them down as they can.
And there is still some restoration from the concrete work, ADA ramps, curb work, where they're going to topsoil. So I mean that'll be spotty here and there.
Okay.
I mean you still want signage to help protect those.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Alrighty, nothing else. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We are adjourned at 6:05.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. Next up is Environmental Health and Social Services, is Mrs. Hager.
Thank you, Mr. President. Environmental Health and Social Services is meeting this evening, October 6, 2025, in council chambers. All members of my committee are present with myself as chair, Shorter Griffin as co-chair, Taylor Thompson, and all other members of council are present, along with guests as noted on my sheet. We have no requests for legislation at this time, and no pending. One thing I would like to bring up, there have been reports of the, oh Lord, I can't think of what they're called now. They're the little spotted fly thing.
Lantern flies?
Huh?
Lantern flies?
Yes, thank you. Lantern flies. I've heard from a couple of constituents. I need to go to their houses and check and see if they actually are them. If you do see them, it is recommended that you kill them. If you don't want to squish them and you see them on a tree, I Googled and you can actually take a bottle, like a Gatorade bottle, and put it up to them. It scares them and they'll jump off and they'll go into the bottle, and then you can dispose of them that way. But yeah, I'm working on doing more research and seeing who to contact about like what can be done in the city as far as like, is there any kind of spraying, or you know, how do we find out exactly how spread out these are? So other than that, is there any miscellaneous discussion from the body? With that, do I have a motion to adjourn? A second?
I'll second.
And with that, we are adjourned at 6:08.
Thank you, Mrs. Hager. Next up is Planning, Annexation, and Codes, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning, Annexation, and Codes, Monday, October 6, 2025, is 6:08 p.m. in council chambers. Committee is present, which consists of Councilors Thompson, Harris, President Guerra, and myself as chair. All others are noted. A couple requests tonight. First one from Director Carr, requesting legislation to approve a 100% 15-year CRA tax abatement for the Raymond James Company. Parcels included are parcels 01.12849 and 01.03928 for the purpose of expanding his downtown business and adding jobs. One reading and emergency wording requested. Are there any questions on this matter? Counselor?
How many jobs are they planning on adding?
Director?
When we spoke last, it was 3 to 5. I also wanted to let you know the schools did vote to approve it at their last meeting. However, I was unable to secure a letter in time for tonight's meeting, but once I have that, I'll pass it along to you.
Thank you. Counselor Harris, did you have your hand up?
She stole my question.
Back to Counselor Gerhard.
Is this expansion dependent on the tax abatement passing?
It is not. Without you passing the 100%, he is able to receive a 75% tax abatement, but he cannot start work until this is passed for the 100%. And he would like to start sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Counselor?
So right now, he's got a market recovery reduction in his property tax. Will he lose that when he gets off the TIF and goes to the CRA?
That's not my, I'm not 100%, but I don't believe so.
Any other questions? Counselor?
What's the estimated abatement value over these 15 years?
Again, this is just on improved value. So until I figure out, and I don't know if we have those numbers, I can get those to you. I can speak with Mr. Dodson, and I can send you those numbers.
Okay. It just seems unusual. Usually I feel like we're offering it for way bigger manufacturing companies or something, bringing in more jobs. So.
I think the last one you guys approved was Top Craft, and I don't know what the expansion cost was that either, but I can find out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Counselor.
Mrs. Carr, do you know if we've given any others to the downtown businesses that have been coming in?
No, again, it's just on the improved value.
Right.
So whatever that taxable value is at the end of the new build out would be the 100%. But there aren't any in the downtown that have them currently.
Thank you.
Got one more.
Counselor?
So we're gonna give a tax credit basically on 3 to 5 employees. So what happens in a year if he drops to less than what he's got now?
So he's building it because he's expanding. They want to stay in Barberton. The expansion will allow the business to stay in Barberton. If not, he may have to move outside. The business is growing. And again, it's just on the taxable value of the improvements, right? You're not, and basically the people that are losing out on those dollars would be the schools. The schools already voted to approve it. However, you're going to get the tax dollars based on those employees that are coming into town with the high-paying job creation.
Well, what I was thinking was, could this just be done for 5 and then every 5 years just reapply? Because like everything, I mean, there's no guarantee that them 5 employees will be here for the next 15 years, number one. It's just business, right? Number two, the part that really bothers me is the citizens have to pass a tax levy every year for the schools to operate, and we're giving money away. Across the board, that bothers me with anybody. And to get basically a $40,000 credit now on his property tax, and to keep that and not pay tax on the improvements because of the TIF, I don't know. I just have a lot of number of questions, and maybe Dodson's got the answers, but all the numbers just, they're not here for us to see.
Yeah, if you don't mind emailing me those questions
Oh,
specifically,
absolutely.
and I will talk with Mr. Dodson, and then I'll also get that letter from the school as to why they decided to vote in favor of it. Because I think that's something big that you guys should take into consideration.
Any other questions? Seeing none, and provided Director Carr provides the information, do I have a motion to call this out of committee, knowing that it would be on the agenda next week, but if time would not allow, then we can always hold it for another reading. So do I have a motion to call for this?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it. I would like to include it on that email, though. Please.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. So the next is another request from Director Carr for legislation to amend Ordinance 91, 2019, removing the same parcels as above from the tax increment finance district. One reading, emergency wording requested. Does anybody have any questions on this that weren't answered in the last round? Once again, Director, if we can get all the information this week so we can have an informed decision next week.
Absolutely.
Do I have a motion to call for this?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor? Aye. That's it for requests for miscellaneous. Director Carr? I'm leaving in a few months. Am I gonna get to vote on this?
Yes.
Thank you.
I spoke
No.
with OHM today. We will start receiving the amended, most up-to-date draft starting this week. They're gonna send over sections as they amend it and they make our changes. And then once I have those, that'll be the first thing I do is review and make sure that all the comments are changed and our concerns are answered, and we'll get that
Thank you.
through the public process.
Is there any from the body? And from the gallery, it is 6:14 on my clock, and I know some people wanted to go to a different meeting. So if anybody wants to come to the podium, I know some people wanted to talk about this data center and give their opinion. Raise their hand and, okay, you first there, sir? Just come to the podium there.
My name is Glenn Yasko. I am a resident in Norton. My address is 3717 Norton, Ohio. Orr Avenue, Norton, Ohio. Thank you for this time. Recently, I had the opportunity to discuss the concerns about the proposed data center with local residents. A common concern was Barberton residents have no say or vote in this matter. This is partially true. Barberton residents have a voice. And they are neighbors. Barberton residents are neighbors of Norton. You can speak at public meetings. I am an example tonight. I am a resident of Norton, and you are allowing me to speak here in Barberton. Thank you. We as a group, we respect our local and neighboring community officials. We show our respect by remaining civil and courteous, speaking only of the current issues. In return, we are shown respect and we are heard. There's a town hall meeting on Monday, October 13th at 7 p.m. at the Norton Community Center. Representatives from Quantum HPC have agreed to attend questions and to answer questions about the data center proposal. This meeting will help us understand more about the data center and hopefully address our concerns. If we remain civil and respectful, we will accomplish more. We urge others to show the same courtesy. You can be heard. I want to thank Council for allowing me to speak this evening, and thank you for your service to your community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I saw a couple other hands.
Mr. Heidick, since we're in committee, are we allowed to talk back?
Let me get through citizens that want to speak there.
I don't know if you can hear me. I'm Jenny Ray, 85 Olds Drive in Barberton. I'm on Johnson's Corners, less than a mile from the PPG minefields. And this has me very concerned about the property values if this data center is built, because it makes a tremendous amount of noise. The cooling towers make a tremendous amount of noise constantly. And then there's the lighting around the facility is very bright, and right around it's probably will have no more darkness at nighttime because it's so bright. And then there's the water use. It sucks up a tremendous amount of water, and they say they won't do anything to Lake Dorothy, but I can't figure out how that's possible because they'll be sitting right beside Dorothy. And I'm just wondering how this won't hurt the property values on the southwest side of Barberton and in Norton right there near the PPG mine fields. The noise, the light, the water, all this will make it property values drop down. And that's a nice part of Barberton. Please do whatever you need to do to make it so we don't lose property value if this project is allowed to go on. And if you feel like Barberton is not big enough, then ask Norton and Wadsworth to join, because Wadsworth is gonna be affected too, because of the water so. And that's what I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Tiffany Mead. I'm here in regards to the data center. My main question for all council members, Swales Mayor, have any of you gone to our local data centers that we have in Akron or Fairlawn? No. It took me an hour today to go to all of them. I recorded all of their parking lots. I took pictures of all of their buildings. One of their buildings, the Congan Data Center, is 50,747 square feet. Lumen Akron 2 is 12,000 square feet. Arc Data Center has 2 buildings. Both buildings are 26,000 square feet. Their total campus is 52,000 square feet. The Fairlawn Gig Service Center is 20,000 square feet. The Fairlawn Gig Center is the only center that provides internet to Akron, Copley, Fairlawn, and Bath. That is the one that plays into the joint economic development districts. The other ones are all for private IT and server storage. The proposed data center going on the border of Barberton is 485,000 square feet. Go see those data centers in person. I don't care if it's 90 acres. Look at the plan. The plan that they originally asked for was 112 foot tall. They went and asked to change that to 115 feet tall, 753 feet long. It will be a campus. To give you an idea of the campus, Amazon's campus is 2.5 million square feet. So we are about 19.4% of that campus going in a residential area. What I want to say about all of these data centers, they're all in industrial areas. There is one that is placed in a very, very low economical area right off of Arlington, where these people's home values, because of their location, they weren't going to sell for anything anyway. They were going to get very little. Where this is directly in the front of their neighborhood, smack dab in front of it. When you ride around it, not one house is upkept. I went around the whole neighborhood just to see what the effects were. Yes, they're low income, but what are the effects on these houses? No. Some people had their lawn mowed, some didn't. But it's like they gave up hope. It's like it's a desert. But there are still people living in those houses. That is not an industrial area. That is not a low income area. I know by some charts, Barberton might be deemed low income, but those residents over there have worked their whole lives. And yes, it's on the border of Norton and Barberton, and it's technically a plot of land in Norton. But there has to be something that you guys can do for these residents on that border.
Yes.
When I went there, I photographed every parking lot for the pure point of everybody keeps screaming it's going to bring jobs. It is not going to bring jobs. The jobs that it brings are temporary jobs to construct it, which phase 1 is said to be 2 years. Then those employees move out because they're construction employees and that's that business. Then phase 2 will happen after phase 1 is done. The next thing is, when I took pictures of every data center, the only data center that had more than 2 cars in it at 12 noon today was ARC because it's under construction. The second building is under construction. The first building had 4 cars in it that I'm going to assume were in that building. All the other cars went to the construction site of that building. The problem with this, I don't live by that. I don't have a dog in the fight. What it is this is our community. And what's going to happen to all of those people over there that we know, it doesn't matter if you represent that area or not. You know somebody there. When I listened to the sounds of them, I was very surprised. These are not closed loop ones. The one that is going over here is massive and has generators and gas-powered wind turbines and this and that. Don't know where we're getting the produced wind turbines to go, but that is the plan that the developer has set in place. When I listened to the facilities today, there was vibration. I did not hear humming, but I found that very odd because 2 of the 4 were totally off, but you still felt a vibration. I got out of my car when I took the pictures and you can feel a vibration. Now, the closest closed loop center that I've found is Sandusky, and I haven't been there yet. I'm gonna go because it doesn't seem like anybody else is gonna go. But this is not my job. This is not any other resident's job. Somebody has to care enough to say, hey, here you go. If it's passed, but at least we know what the effects are. And naively, somebody said to me this weekend, can you imagine what's going to happen to the environment? And I said, is there really animals and things over there that live? And they said, oh, sure, there really are. And I didn't ever even consider that. I considered the light pollution, the sound pollution, possibility of air pollution. And then today came. The developer switched the entire website to say they are basically eliminating Barberton. They are not going to use municipality water. They are going to truck their water in. The lights will now be pointed down to the ground. The sound, there will be no sound. It's deceptive. What they're doing is going in when enough noise is made and switching to pacify everybody. And that's what they have a reputation of doing, changing constantly, switching things constantly. And it's really up to our representatives to figure out what the truth is here. Because I don't know why they've been allowed to run amok like this and constantly change. But last week, it 100% had the wording that said they will use municipality water, which gave Barberton a little bit of a leg up in there because they need your water. Today, that site says they're trucking it in. We all still have voices. And even if we have to go stand in Norton, like Glenn said, we can stand in Norton just like we let a Norton resident stand here, but something has to be done. There has to be some type of representative or official that stands up and says, okay, we want the information for the constituents to make sure these people are okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tiffany, real quick. Ask a
Counselor?
question real quick. Can you remind me, I have seen the Fair Lawn Gig Center. Can you remind me what the square footage of that one was?
The Fairlawn square footage is located at 3300 Fairlawn Service Drive, 20,000 square feet. It's an industrial area. They do have a tower across the street that emits everything and a very small gated area. And it supplies internet. That's what that center is for. It supplies internet to the surrounding communities. It actually is a useful, and that's why they were able to implement JED. Because the key word in JED is you have to work together, not just one person deciding for everybody. So that's how they were able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gerhardt, I know you had a question there.
More of a follow-up statement with Mr. Yasko. Make sure you submit your questions ahead of time. It doesn't sound like they're taking questions at the meeting.
Do you want to speak for you?
If you want.
So people can hear me.
That's what the advertisement is saying. You need to submit it ahead of time.
It was stated by our mayor this weekend at the Cider Festival that we did not have to submit questions in advance, and we questioned one of our councilmen, and they said the same. Because how can you ask a question and get an answer, and then that'll generate another question? Tonight, I will be able to verify that because I'm going to have to leave here soon to attend Norton's council meeting. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but I'm stretched thin. And tonight's meeting is going to be somewhat informative as far as the responsibility of ordinances that are in place. Are they there to protect the citizens, or are they there for industry? And this former PPG site, I am unaware of how it is zoned currently. There seems to be a gray area. It may be I-1, it may be I-2. Technically, I do not know the difference between the two. I have basically just become involved in this, and I am evolving as a person around this. So I just don't know the answer to what I am speaking of, the difference between Industrial 1 and Industrial 2. And I have to apologize for my ignorance. If you have any other questions that I might be able to answer, I will.
Thank you for that follow-up.
Thank you. Is there anything else from the body? Any more from the gallery? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 6:31, and I thank all of our speakers tonight.
All right, thank you, Mr. Heidi. Last but not least, Finance and Personnel with Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to bring the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. It is Monday, October 6, 2025, 6:32 p.m. here in Council Chambers. All members of my committee are present, which includes myself as chair, Mr. Heidig, Mr. Griffin, and President Greer. All other council members are also present, as well as guests as noted on my sheet. We have a few requests for legislation, the first being a letter from Mayor William Judge requesting legislation to appropriate $17,000 from the unappropriated item of the street operating fund to the operations and maintenance budget of the street operating fund to be used to remove the former tank barn at the service garage on Brady Avenue. Emergency wording and one reading requested. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, do I have a motion to call for this?
Motion?
And a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a request from Janie Eisman, Human Resources and Public Safety Director, requesting legislation to approve the renewal contract with Summit County for the Summit County Health Connection Program. Emergency wording and one reading requested. Are there any remarks? Ms. Gearhart?
What is this program?
So this is, so it's for employee medical and prescription drug coverage benefits. Our current contract expires December 31st.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
We are fortunate to be a part of Summit County, the Health Consortium, so there's a large group that are with them, so that's just our annual contract in order to be a part of that group.
Nice.
To get the better rates.
Yeah, because it's more people in the pool.
Yes.
Very good.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to call for this?
So moved.
Thank you, and a second.
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have a letter from Katie Reed, clerk of the Barberton Municipal Court, requesting legislation to appropriate $15,000 from the unappropriated line of the general fund to the clerk of court's postage fund in the general fund. Emergency wording and one reading requested. Are there any remarks? This is for postage. Hearing none, do I have a motion to call for this?
Motion?
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have an appointment, Lori A. Huffman to the Civil Service Commission for a 6-year term beginning January 1st, 2026, ending December 31st, 2031. The application is attached. She has served for almost 20 years now on the Civil Service Commission. Just out of curiosity, Mayor, did you have any others apply for this?
I received one other, but Lori's been a great member of civil service. While she was on it, there's another kind of gentleman who has since been taken off, but you kind of need that historian, especially with this commission. They have an important job, and rules change quite a bit, and we've done a lot of testing of employees, new employees every year, and everything goes through them. Most everything goes through them. So it's my understanding as well that HR recommends Lori as well.
Are there any questions?
Yes, it's absolutely correct.
Okay.
She has my approval.
Mr. Hayden?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, how many other members are on the commission?
We have 3 total.
3 total.
3 total? The other 2, how long have they been on?
I don't know exact, I could find out, get that to you. I know Mr. Anderson, not quite as long as Ms. Huffman. Chris, the 3rd member, is new. I believe he's in his 2nd year.
Thank you.
It's been a great asset, so.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to call for this? And a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Is there any miscellaneous discussion from my committee or other council members?
I got a question. I'm gonna actually back up, I'm sorry, I didn't. On tearing out the barn, was that put out for bid? Did we, and the reason I ask is Butcher's tearing houses down, removing basements for 11.5, and we're tearing an empty barn down for 17,000. I'm just curious to how that stuff just kinda, and I think half of it's down on the ground anyway.
It was not put out for bid, but they did receive quotes, and that was the lowest one.
Okay.
It's not always, and I don't know this for sure, I'd have to confirm, but, Butcher's busy, they may have not been able to do it in a reasonable amount of time. But I have to confirm that, but I believe 17,000 was the best, quote here.
Mr. Harris?
Is that the total cost? Because I'm sure I saw something in the Board of Control minutes about something regarding that a couple weeks ago.
I believe that's the total cost. Let me confirm that, but
I'm almost positive I saw something in the Board of Control
What
about,
was the question? I apologize.
I saw something in the Board of Control minutes from a couple weeks ago about the tank barn and a cost. Now, is that in addition to this?
Remind me where the tank barn is located.
Street garage, Brady Avenue, in the back there.
Zero recollection.
Appreciate your
I believe it's
honesty.
1%.
Mr. Shreve?
So I pulled up the Board of Control request form. Kyle Brining submitted it for the raising of the tank barn. It was no more than $16,350, and they were the lowest bidder that we received.
Thank you. Anything else for miscellaneous? Mrs. Eberhard?
Megan Eberhart on Mesa Verde Drive in Barberton. Just, I guess I have a question is what's going to replace the tank barn? The street departments use that to shield and protect equipment, to keep the longevity, and is there a plan on, once it's raised, on where to put the equipment and how we're going to maintain it for its longevity?
Yeah, there's really nothing of great value in the tank barn. It's been deteriorating for a while. The plan is to kind of move the aggregate, which is on the side of the tank barn, and keep it growing so we can use it in our operations. We have started studies on a joint service garage, but that's down the road because, obviously cost is a major factor. But when the city was exploding and when the city was, thought to get up to close to 80,000 residents, back in the heyday, it maybe made sense to have two different garages throughout the city, right? We are, down from that time in residents. It's the same union, same everything, basically. So we've looked at joining the water distribution, collection and distribution with the streets and parks maintenance. There's a lot of efficiencies in putting everyone under one roof. Both facilities are very old, except for the newer building down at the water garage there. So we've got a long-term plan. We don't have a time frame because obviously it's very costly. But this is a first step in that direction.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Just to jump off what the mayor said, if you guys haven't noticed that the roof on the tank barn collapsed months ago. So it's been sitting like that for months. So it is a safety concern and it needs to come down sooner than later. Thank you.
That is correct. If there's nothing else, Mr. Flaker, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second. You're adjourned at 6:41.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. That concludes our committee reports. We're going to take a short 3-minute break and come back and begin our committee of the whole. Mrs. Hager.
Oh, yeah, Santa's beard, that's what you got pulled.
Mrs. Hager, we're starting. Oh, actually pretty nice.
Said Santa's beard, that's what you about did. Pulled Santa's beard. Not cool, dude.
All right, we're back. Today is October 6th, 2025. This is a committee of the whole meeting for Barberton City Council. I call this meeting to order at 6:48 p.m. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, citizens addressing council, there were none. They spoke earlier today in the planning committee. So we'll jump into committee reports, and we'll start with street, sidewalk, and lighting with Mrs. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening's streets and sidewalk and lighting has nothing to report. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Beck. Environmental Health and Social Services, Mrs. Hager.
Thank you, Mr. President. Environmental Health and Social Services met this evening, spoke briefly about the lantern fly, and with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Hager. Planning, Annexation, and Codes, Mr. Hyder.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning, Annexation, and Codes is calling for the following. Legislation to approve a 100% 15-year CRA tax abatement for Raymond James Company, including parcels 01.12849 and parcel 01.03928 for the purpose of expanding downtown business and adding jobs. And legislation to amend ordinance 91/2019 by removing said parcels from the tax increment finance district. Both are requested for one reading and emergency wording. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Hyder. City Properties, Parks, and Recreation, Mr. Eastwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Properties, Parks and Rec met on September 22nd here in council chambers. We had one request for legislation. It was tabled. It was the donate the land to Summit County. Had a letter from Todd Shreve. We are waiting on more information. So therefore, we have no request for legislation and no pending. So with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Eastwood. Public Welfare and Safety, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Welfare and Safety met on September 22nd here in council chambers. There were several requests for legislation. First one is a letter from Ms. Miller, Law Director, requesting legislation to amend ordinance number 35-1992, Americans with Disabilities Act ADA to reflect a change in the role of the ADA coordinator to the Department of Human Resources. Then we have a letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation to enter into a lease to purchase agreement with NCL Government Capital on behalf of Southwest Summit Council of Governments, Swisscog, for Zetron Max dispatch equipment. We have a letter from Jeremy Flaker, Finance Director, requesting legislation to enter into contract with Zetron to purchase Zetron Max dispatch equipment in the amount of $116,223.55 on behalf of Southwest Summit Council of Governments, Swisscog. This will be funded by a lease to purchase with NCL Government Capital. And then we have ordinance number 95/2025. It's amendment for BCO Chapter 670, Trees, Weeds, and Grass. And that would be, that's it. That'll be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Rules, Marketing, and Development, Ms. Gerhart.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rules, Marketing, and Development met on September 22nd. We discussed multiple change requests to the council rules. We passed it out of my committee, and with that, I pass.
Thank you, Ms. Gerhart. City Utilities, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Utilities have nothing to report. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Finance and Personnel, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance and Personnel met on September 22nd, which was legislative evening, and all pending legislation passed that evening. Then we also met this evening at 6:32 here in council chambers. and we are calling for the following legislation. The first being a letter from Mayor William Judge requesting legislation to appropriate $17,000 from the unappropriated item of the street operating fund to the operations and maintenance budget of the street operating fund to be used to remove the former tank barn at the service garage on Brady Avenue. Emergency wording and one reading is requested. Next, we have a request from Director Jamie Eisman to approve the renewal contract with Summit County for the Summit County Health Connection Program. Emergency wording and one reading requested. A request from Katie Reed, Clerk of Courts, to appropriate $15,000 from the unappropriated line item of the general fund to the Clerk of Courts postage fund in the general fund. Emergency wording and one reading requested. We're calling for the appointment of Lori A. Huffman to continue on the Civil Service Commission for a 6-year term beginning January 1st, 2026. And we adjourn at 6:41. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. That concludes our committee reports. I have nothing to report. Is there anything from the body? All right. Heidi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week I was out of town and saw some news that really stuck with me. Our football team had to cancel the game due to numerous injuries and what have you. It happens. What really pissed me off was Highland's athletic director publishes a letter, sends it to all the member schools of our conference, and says how unacceptable that move was, that the membership should vote Barberton out of their conference. And I get that there were terms agreed to with OHSAA, running clocks, shortened periods, but come closer to game day, Coach Gatto made the decision that our kids' health and safety was more important than somebody else's homecoming game. That's not a decision that any coach wants to make. That's not a decision our players want to hear. They want to go out and play. But it reminds me of within the past couple of years, the coach for Akron North's high school football team came out mid-season to a press conference in tears and canceled the rest of their season, half of their season gone, and said he had 13 healthy players. Those kids still wanted to play. He couldn't do it to them, and neither could Coach Gatto. Coach Gatto has been a fantastic person in this community, a fantastic shaper of these kids, and that tradition continues by looking out for them. Shame on Highland for being so high and mighty that they think this egregious thing is the worst in the world. Coach Gatto, we have, as I hope I speak for everybody, we have his back. We know that had to pain him, it's a dagger for a coach to look at his players and say, we can't play. And they're so young, they want to sit there and say, we want to. Any given play could be an injury. You're going to double that by making them play both sides of the ball? What, you want our JVs to go up there against a powerhouse like Highland just to get the hell kicked out of us? And then limp into a JV game just to have... It just angers me so much that one athletic director can go so public and admonish another city just for trying to look out for their kids. I don't have children, but I respect the hell out of Coach Gatto. I stand with him on this, and anybody that wants to give him hell or isn't standing up for him, they can kiss you-know-what. Thank you.
Ms. Beck?
Thank you. I wasn't going to talk about that, but thank you for saying that. My husband and I were talking about it over the weekend too, and we both said that's what real leadership looks like, and what people are really looking out for kids looks like. So thank you for bringing that up. But what I did want to talk about, White Rabbit Gallery is going to have a charity event where artists from around the area and even in our town, there's one in our gallery right now. She made a very Barberton forward chair that's in the auction. So the event is going to be on October 18th. Tickets are on sale right now. But if you go online, there are specific chairs that you can bid on this moment and then get a sneak peek at some chairs that will be live auction You can bid on it at the thing. One of my chairs, my husband and I did one, will be in there as well. But they are beautiful. And if you haven't been into White Rabbit Gallery, please go. This will benefit White Rabbit, but we offer classes. There's resident artists there. There's always a revolving show to look at, and the art is incredible. There's even local artists like that from your own town that exhibit there that you wouldn't know that they are such great artists. So please sign up for tickets. October 18th, there will be food trucks. It's going to be a good time. So I just wanted to call that to everybody's attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. Ms. Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to remind everybody that tomorrow night is the civic engagement at the library. And I think we should all be in attendance and prepared to talk about the proposed charter changes and anything else that the residents would like to talk about. It's at 6 o'clock. And with that, I pass.
Anything else from the body? Mrs. Hager?
I would just like to publicly say, even though it was yesterday, happy birthday to Miss Gerhart.
Thank you.
Anything
And with
else?
that, she passes.
Anything else from the body? Department heads? All right, mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Kind of piggybacking off of what Councilman Heidig brought up, coincidentally had a friend who, his high school down in the southern part of the state, similar situation, but he would be on the Highland side, his high school. They played a team that had a lot of injuries. They won 55-0. I think they had 42 points in the first quarter, and caused further injuries when they had freshmen playing against seniors, and it just not a good situation at all. So yeah, we were talking this weekend. I said, well, we kind of took a step back, forfeited because of the kids, right? Looking out for the kids. And he said, oh, well, this school we played didn't do that, and now there's some other injuries that they're dealing with. So it's just a sport. I realize there may be things hanging on it, and whether it's scholarships or playing time or experience or whatever, it's just a sport, and your health is something that you can't get back, right? So you want to make sure that the kids are as healthy as possible. They're so young, you want to make sure that they're taken care of. So I appreciate your comments. Change for Change, October 17th at Altoole, benefiting Common Threads. Does a great job here in town. As mentioned earlier, fall leaf pickup schedule has been released. I do remind everyone that if your leaves are not out and the city comes by, or your leaves have not fallen, right, they don't all fall at the same time, we will come back, but most likely it's not going to be until the rest of the city is done, so we can stay on a schedule, or as time allows. So I tell everyone, even if the truck just went by, still put your leaves out at the curb. Sometimes we finish early, we get to bring maybe another crew in, or we work long hours or the weekends, they can come in and get it. So just make sure they put it at the curb there. 2025 road program nearing the end. Ask council to submit streets for consideration for next year's program. And I'll reiterate that we take roads for consideration from city council members, from the public, from our street department, from the utilities department, and others. And it's a very exhaustive list. We'll submit 50, 60, 100 streets to get priced out. And I think this last year it came back at $9 million. And we have to whittle that down to what our budget is, which is around $2 million every year, right? And we do this every year. We throw in more streets than we know we can handle budget-wise, but we have to make those tough decisions and make the best decisions. That's why utilities is important. We want to make sure that we're fixing everything under the street before we repave it. Doesn't always work that way, can't always work that way, but we do our best. So please submit the streets that you'd like for consideration. Last Wednesday, the sale of Suma Hospital to Hatco was finalized and closed. I did meet with the new owners, including the new president of Hatco. He did state that all 1,100 employees at Barberton Suma did transition over to Hatco, so no jobs were lost. We're going to stay in communication and continue to work together and advocate for the growth of Barberton Hospital here. So I'll keep you updated as we continue to meet. We're still working with Kuhn Restoration on the Cox Powell Herald Building renovation. This group is still moving forward. Want to get them in here to talk to you guys, to answer questions. They've been on at the building numerous times in the last few weeks. Obviously, there were some fires set there. As far as I know, the big one is still under investigation, but still wanting to move forward. Now, a project like this, obviously, there's a lot of changes, so that, you know, the complexity and the capital stack and interest rate coming down and the fire and everything else, it's a very complex project. So it may not happen for a few more months, but want to get Steve in here and talk to you guys and answer any questions. As I emailed council, I do have a meeting with Norton administration concerning the data center. Earlier this afternoon, I did receive FAQs, or an FAQ. It is on Norton's website, but I did print off copies for city council members. This is on their website, as I mentioned, but...
Is that the HPC?
So obviously, a lot of rumors, a lot of information floating around. There's public meetings in Norton. I appreciate all the comments that everyone's been making here at City Council and that I've received out in the public. Because as soon as we write all those things down, we can write yes, no, it's going to happen, it's not going to happen that way, or we're just not sure yet. So a lot more information has to come out, but I'll keep you guys updated with the results of the meeting. So, any questions? Yes.
Concerning the data center, I know in your last week's Q&A you talked about misinformation versus the facts and that you were going to get the facts. I don't know how we can say misinformation or facts, or because I've been watching the company's website and it's changed like 3 or 4 different times. So to say misinformation, but we don't have the facts yet. I mean, you said 2 weeks ago that you hadn't met with them. I understand you're meeting with them Wednesday. But everything I've seen, you know, him hauling around, the changing of their website, like, you know, first it was, we're going to do wells. Then as soon as everybody starts talking about it, then it changes to, oh, well, we're going to have, you know, the city of Barberton, their water. And then all of a sudden now it's changed to, oh, it's going to be a closed loop system. We're not going to need, you know. So to say misinformation, nobody knows what is true, what is not, you know. So we'll see what, I guess, Wednesday when you meet with them. We as council would like to know before you go, you know. I mean, are they going to make you sign a non-disclosure?
I'll tell you.
Probably.
I don't know.
You know, I would imagine that's what they'll do. But I still, you know, if they do that, that means to me that they're hiding things. You know, things have changed just over 24 hours. Things have changed on it. So that's all I have about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some crazy things come up, and that's why I use the word misinformation, because some things that I've heard are just totally outlandish and have not been brought up here. And I'm not going to say them in a public meeting because they're way out there and they've never been a part of any conversations that I've been a part of. But yeah, I'll see what the facts are and report back.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. With the road program, when you asked for requests for roads, I know you sent it to us maybe last year, but I know for years I would scream about Stratford and we were waiting on a water line. Could you and Director Shreve send out something again that's what grants you're chasing for what water lines or what streets you're targeting for water line before resurfacing? That way, you know, we know that, okay, let's say, I'm just going to say First Street. That First Street, you have an outstanding grant application.
Right.
That way we say, okay, well, we're going to request something else because we know you want to do that first. Again, Stratford's the example there. For years, we've all known it's looked terrible, but we finally got that nice grant to get the water line, so now we can just do it all the correct way instead of tearing it back up. So I don't know if you guys have a list of any grants that you're looking at or have open, but that would be a nice thing to send to the council there, just so we all have an idea which ones are looking at. Because I tell you, the people on Stratford, when I told them that the grant was outstanding for the water line replacement before we paved it, they threw their hands to the sky and said hallelujah, because they had no idea why their street wasn't getting done. But at least this gave us a reason to be able to tell them what was happening.
Sure.
Thank you.
Can I piggyback off of Councilman Heidick real quick? Is there any idea when we're gonna get started on Stratford? I mean, I heard October 1, and then, I mean, we're October 6th, so we're still waiting? What's going on?
There's never been a definite date that it's going to happen on this date. It's my understanding that they're still waiting for some materials, but the crew that is working on Worcester Road West is going to be transferred up to Stratford.
Okay, because I've heard two different things. One is they're waiting on materials such as valves and hydrants, and then somebody else said, well, I was told that they have everything. So trying to figure out what is true, what is not true.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to find out who you talked to, that they have everything.
Well, they said they talked to you.
Who's that?
One of my residents up there.
Okay, I got an email from one of your residents and told them that they're waiting for materials. That's what I was told.
Okay. All right.
So. Yeah.
So Monty, they are on the clock. Their notice to proceed was signed October 1. I believe that gives them 150 days to complete the job.
Okay.
So they're on the clock to get the work.
Okay. That helps me out.
Yeah, and again, I'm pulling 150. I'm almost positive that's the number. It's either 120 or 150. I'm thinking it's 150. It's almost a mile water line. So I mean, it's a substantial. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks. In addition to what Mr. Heidick said, if I'm not mistaken, don't we have a list somewhere of streets that need the water lines replaced before resurfacing, just in general? Because I think I remember, because I had submitted, I think like Noble, Benton, like those streets over there.
So there's a number of
I think
streets.
that whole area.
There's a number of streets that a council approved for grants for next year. So we're in that process. And then, if you recall, Mr. Shreve and I have been working on, for some of that area, instead of doing single streets, doing a whole plan
Yeah.
for that area. So, still working on that.
Okay.
Yes.
I should have said this when President Greer asked for a council update, but this is the first time we've met since the Mum Festival, and so big shout out to Parks and Rec for putting that on and all the volunteers, because it's a lot of work, huh, Mr. Moore? So, one thing that stood out to me, I was working at the Information Center, which is the visitor center, and people were trying to sit along the railing to watch the ski show, and all the bricks are falling off, so the railing is about ready to fall off, so I had to get people down for safety. When are we gonna spend that money, and could we just focus on fixing what we could with the 1 million? And you'd mentioned interest rates are coming down, so it might be a good time to like jump and make the money go as far as possible if we could get it underway.
So, yeah, we've had multiple meetings. I literally just sent out an email a little bit ago to Stacy and Don, who are overseeing that project. The money's got to go for the visitor center. So the thought is obviously to rebuild that so it's a little more usable and functional.
Hopefully with bathrooms.
Bathrooms that actually work.
Yeah.
Put them at street level, yeah.
Right.
So, and we know that the project's going to be more than $1 million. So don't want to, so I'll have to get back to you as we meet on that, so.
You might not be able to answer this part, but could it be kind of adjusted down to $1 million so that, because there's not more money to put towards it?
$1 million doesn't get you much. And so I'd hate to put $1 million into something and then turn right around knowing it's not what we want or need. So we're working on a plan to raise some funds. So.
Okay.
And there may be additional funds out there. So.
Thank you.
Yep. That's it.
Me and Mr. Heidick actually spent quite some time last week talking about this. I know that Ms. Carr and Mr. Patterson are kind of in charge of getting something together for this. could you put a small committee together with just people who know the industries and kind of come up with like rough ideas? Because architectural firms, obviously, if you're $225, $275, $500 an hour, they might hire for their ideas. But what if you knock the legwork out through a committee and came up with, we need X amount of square feet for a banquet hall, we don't need a kitchen, we need a, second story restrooms, we want a garage underneath. I mean, get rid of all the design issues and just have them draw the structural stuff for, a third of the cost. I mean, we talked about it just, throwing spit wad, so to speak, and I would more than volunteer to help what I can do on my end, with kind of like a design build type, idea. Just food for thought. I'd be willing to help Stacy Carr, Don Patterson, in a formal manner, if you want to put something together on a given day.
Have you seen the renderings that we've?
Yeah,
received?
but there's $6 million renderings, and we don't have it. We don't need full kitchens. That stuff's, you need a hall that's rentable with electricity and a storage garage underneath and restrooms. I mean, you can build it to add on to it later, but you can put the bones in there, now and go from there. And I'm willing to help with that, so I just wanted to bring that up.
All right, great. Yep.
I wanted to jump back to the fires that we had. We owned 459, which is Cox Powell Building, the big one, since 2018. 467, since we owned that since 2014. That's also the one that burnt down and was torn down. Mr. Flecker called me today to tell me that we didn't have insurance because insurance wouldn't cover it. According to the lease agreement, as you know, it says that we cover stuff for the first year, leasing for the remainder. So who paid for the demo of 467?
So I'll have to check the PO. I believe we paid for it. Doesn't mean that we can't be reimbursed.
Okay. And then, have we had a building commissioner out there or a structural engineer? Because if you look at that building, there's facade that looks like it's ready to fall off at any time. Have we had a actual building person that looked at it to inspect it to say, yeah, it's safe, it's not safe?
Yes.
Okay. Who was that?
Chris Randall's from the county, also Fred, who's our RBO, and then the fire marshal. So we're working on that right now. So there'll be more information here very soon.
Did we get a denial letter saying that they wouldn't insure the buildings?
I don't recall. The buildings, the one that burned down had been vacant for a number of years prior to that. From my recollection, we cited the owner who lived out of state, and I don't recall off the top of my head how BCDC got ownership of it. And then we purchased it for like $5,600 from BCDC. But insurance will not cover, it's uninsurable if it's vacant for too long. And I don't know what that time period is.
Well, I think they've both been vacant for quite some time.
Right.
So.
The one that burned down was vacant a lot longer, and when we
Right.
had property maintenance violations.
I'm just looking at the fact that, I've been by the building many, many times. And the facade on the Cox Powell building, the big one, used to have Cox Medical Supplies in it. I'm truly surprised that it's still standing, because the facade on it, there's areas that look like it's ready to go at any time. So, if you can give me that information, it'd be great.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. With nothing else, this meeting is adjourned at 7:17 PM.